Setting aside the Netflix noise, a shocking hypothesis is spreading about events at the Supreme Court. Unverified sources claim that truth hunter Tom Bower has just hinted at a top-secret DNA file called Operation Cuckoo, allegedly involving Trevor Engelson. Is there a hidden mystery behind what is said to be Harry and Meghan's highly dramatic reaction in the courtroom? Is an all-out battle about to erupt? Or is this merely the beginning of a far more complex truth than we have ever known? Amid the ancient walls of Buckingham Palace, a shocking hypothesis is quietly spreading. Could there be a genetic secret hidden behind the royal family's silence? Some unverified sources are raising questions about a top-secret file that could completely alter the line of succession. Is this a strategy to protect the throne, or merely fragments of a power game we have never seen before? If this truth were to be revealed, would royal history have to be rewritten from the very beginning? Within elite power circles, whispers persist that whenever Tom Bower appears, the deepest secrets are at risk of being exposed. This time, the hypothesis no longer revolves around financial conglomerates, but points straight to the heart of the British royal bloodline. Could the troubled look in Harry's eyes, set against his dark suit, be a sign of an approaching storm? Some sources suggest that the pieces Bower is said to be holding are powerful enough to shake the solid walls of the Sussex family. Is this a truth slowly coming to light, or merely a strategic move in a power game we have yet to decipher? Is there a psychological shadow looming over Harry, or is it simply confusion in the face of unpredictable developments? Many keen observers have noticed that his gaze no longer carries the familiar defiance toward the media, but instead seems to drift into an undefined void. Beside him, Meghan maintains the composed poise of a movie star. But could those tightly clenched, whitening hands be betraying that confidence? As Tom Bower's voice rings out, the atmosphere seems to thicken like the stillness before a major storm. Is this the moment when the truth is laid bare, or merely another chapter in an endless game of Power J? Setting aside the familiar tabloid disputes over bridesmaid dresses or sisterly riffs, this time, Tom Bower has crossed a line that few dare to approach. Why has the name Trevor Engelson suddenly surfaced alongside the unsettling phrase genetic cross-check? A chilling atmosphere blankets the courtroom as if time itself has frozen before an unresolved truth. Is this the decisive piece in a much larger power game, or merely a shocking hypothesis meant to shake the very foundations of the monarchy? The answer perhaps still lies in the shadows. The line between rumor and testimony of real consequence seems to be gradually fading. In the suffocating silence of the courtroom, shock is clearly visible on the faces of seasoned royal lawyers. Could we be witnessing the moment when all of Harry's sacrifices, from titles to family ties, are put to a brutal test? The image of a man who once poured everything he had into protecting his young family, now standing before a hypothesis that could overturn everything, forces anyone to ask, what is the ultimate truth behind the curtains? In that moment, Harry's gaze seemed adrift amid the speculation, as if he were trying to piece together scattered fragments of memory into a reality never before known. Could that confusion be the very starting point of a turbulent new chapter? As for Meghan, her silence carried a weight that was hard to define. Instead of the decisiveness so often seen before the cameras, what remained was a fragile, deeply suggestive psychological state. Could this moment of stillness mean more than any grand declaration? The questions remain unanswered, leaving a space filled with curiosity for all those following this story. The sudden departure of a familiar figure, to the astonishment of security personnel, created a haunting pause in the courtroom. The sharp thud of the wooden door closing seemed to signal the cracking of an image once likened to a modern-day Cinderella. The biggest question now is why a seasoned writer like Tom Bower chose this sensitive moment to raise such explosive suspicions. Is he holding evidence capable of shaking traditional values to their core? Or is this merely a bold move in a power game of which we have only glimpsed the tip of the iceberg? Behind the velvet curtain of the monarchy lie questions that could redefine history itself. Could the truth surrounding Archie's birth be the fuse for an unprecedented royal crisis? Today, we move beyond the headlines to delve into the darker corners of this courtroom drama. Together, we will examine the hypotheses, the secrets, and even the silent betrayals the world was never meant to know. Brace yourself, because what is about to be revealed may completely change the way you view the Sussex family forever. A hypothesis is sending public opinion into a frenzy. Could what unfolded at the Supreme Court be the beginning of a shocking truth? When Tom Bower mentioned a top-secret file codenamed Operation Cuckoo, the atmosphere seemed to thicken instantly. Is a long-concealed genetic secret gradually being unraveled, raising serious questions about the line of succession? Harry's dazed expression and Meghan's sudden departure appear to be telling pieces in this opaque power game. Is the monarchy facing a storm it cannot escape, and does the palace's silence signal careful preparation or the first signs of collapse? Within Britain's investigative journalism circles, the name Tom Bower has become something of an obsession for anyone hoping to conceal the truth behind a glossy facade. Many theories suggest that his power does not stem from wild speculation, but from the authority of a former lawyer and seasoned journalist who once worked at the BBC. Could his relentless pursuit of truth be what drives him to confront the highest levels of power? If what is being said is true, he is someone willing to peel back secrets the world once promised would remain hidden forever. Does his very presence signal the potential collapse of icons long considered untouchable? From billionaires to powerful politicians, Tom Bower has seemingly never backed down from anyone. Many wonder whether the long list of his adversaries is proof of a steely principle: never act without evidence. Following the success of Revenge, public attention has once again been stirred by new developments in London in January 2026. Could Bower's calm demeanor under intense questioning be a sign of an unpublished trove of documents? If these hypotheses are accurate, could they be powerful enough to shake every prior belief about the Sussex family? Is there a truth hiding behind those dry numbers and timelines? Instead of vague speculation, Tom Bower put on screen a diagram shrouded in mystery, what insiders call a timeline map of Meghan's life from 2013 to 2018. There's a theory that this is in fact a dossier of overlap, where even the smallest details begin to connect. Why is the year 2013, the moment of her breakup with Trevor Engelson, examined so intensely? Could it be the most crucial link in the picture we are trying to decode together? Is the image of an independent woman so consistently promoted by the House of Sussex facing a harsh test? Many theories suggest that the links to the past were never truly severed. Rather than a clean new beginning, Tom Bower presents data involving hotel records and verified phone calls hinting at a quiet, ongoing connection with Trevor Engelson. Is this merely an incidental detail that was overlooked, or a part of a much larger strategy of concealment? As the evidence comes to light, can this carefully crafted image remain intact? The answer may well lie deep within the files Bower holds. F. Could Harry's silence be concealing a sophisticated information strategy we've yet to recognize? One theory stirring debate points to puzzling gaps in Meghan's schedule in Toronto in 2016. Why do these periods align so strangely with Trevor Engelson's undisclosed travels? Is this merely an innocent coincidence or a secret being carefully kept? These gaps are now challenging the public's faith in the narrative of a perfect love story. In investigative journalism circles, Tom Bower is not merely an author. He is often likened to an obsession haunting secrets that are trying to stay hidden. Many ask whether the rigor of a former lawyer and veteran BBC journalist is the key that enables him to decode such uncomfortable truths. Rather than indulging in fanciful speculation, does he possess a distinct method for confronting powerful interests? And could it be that his mission is to bring what has long been buried into the light, breaking through entrenched barriers of power? What made the atmosphere in the courtroom grow heavy when Tom Bower mentioned the mysterious gatekeepers? Could it be that behind the velvet curtains of Kensington Palace, loyal aides quietly observed everything for over a decade? Some theories suggest that loyalty to the crown was once the greatest barrier, but have the upheavals surrounding the House of Sussex prompted them to break their silence. If these revelations are true, could this mark the beginning of the collapse of a long-standing wall of secrecy? The truth seems to be finding its way into the light. Can logic shed light on the hidden corners that emotion often overlooks? A weighty hypothesis is now being raised about the dense fog surrounding Archie's birth. Why was a centuries-old tradition broken when prominent doctors declined to sign the birth certificate? More notably, the amendments made to the certificate just months later have sparked major questions. Is this merely an administrative procedure, or the trace of a deeply guarded secret the monarchy is trying to protect? Is Harry truly the master of his own destiny, or merely a piece on a board in a play orchestrated with remarkable finesse? A provocative hypothesis is circulating that vows of love may have obscured deeper truths about lineage and legacy. Some sources claim that Tom Bower holds internal reports from security services documents long kept confidential regarding Meghan's past. Could this be the key to understanding a prince's vulnerability? And if these secrets were to come into the open, would history itself need to be rewritten? Could it be that behind the splendor of the royal wedding lay red flags, warning of ghosts from the past? Some sources suggest that security reports noted unwanted connections emerging just days before the momentous event. Tom Bower's weight does not come from noise or spectacle, but from the calm confidence of someone who believes he holds the key to the truth. To him, the truth belongs to no one. It simply exists and must be brought into the light from the darkest vaults. Could this be the moment when every veil of mystery is finally forced to fall? London seemed to awaken all at once, realizing this was no longer a family dispute, but a dramatic historical reckoning. Does Tom Bower truly hold the key to flinging open Pandora's box that the royal family has long tried to bury? The most buzzworthy question now is the re-emergence of Trevor Engelson. What could a Hollywood producer possibly have to do with the future of the throne? And could the way Bower dissects Meghan's portrait be the very answer to the mysteries we are trying to unravel? Is Meghan truly a victim of the media, or is she a skilled strategist with meticulously laid plans? One theory suggests that Trevor Engelson may be the one who holds the key to unlocking her true past. Having been by her side for an entire decade from obscurity to stardom, Trevor likely understood her habits and deepest ambitions better than anyone. Could it be that Harry and his infatuation is seeing only a carefully constructed image, while Trevor possesses the original blueprint? Are the truths behind these hidden corners slowly coming into view? The hidden corners of Meghan and Trevor's relationship still seem to be an unresolved and challenging mystery. Have we only brushed the surface of a story far more complex than it appears? Many theories are now raising questions about details that have yet to come to light, hinting at a past that may not be as straightforward as tradition has long portrayed. If these speculations truly carry the weight of truth, would your perspective change? Leave a 2 if you agree, or a 5 if you're not convinced yet. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue unraveling these secrets together in the next episodes. Tom Bower raises a chilling question. Would a strategic woman like Meghan truly let go of her old lifeline before being certain she was firmly established on a new island? A controversial hypothesis has surfaced in court regarding unusual communications. Some sources claim that while romantic kisses with Harry captivated the public behind the scenes, Meghan was allegedly still maintaining a mysterious line of connection with Trevor. Is this mere coincidence or part of a carefully calculated backup plan? The truth may still be waiting to be fully decoded. T. Could anonymous communication channels and secure apps have been tools Meghan used to build herself a safe exit strategy? A theory stirring controversy suggests she quietly maintained ties to her old world even as she was moving closer to the throne. Yet the core of Tom Bower's testimony lies in a genealogical timeline, a ruthless but highly logical argument. Why was the wedding pushed forward with such unusual haste? Could that urgency have been a way to conceal a truth about timing that the public was never meant to know? Why was a wedding rushed forward when pressure from the palace had not yet truly materialized? The answer Tom Bower offers seems stark and unforgiving, a biological discovery in late 2018. Could the urgency have been driven by a matter of fate? Meghan was forced to confront one theory, suggests that if a pregnancy occurred while relationships were still overlapping, everything would have become dangerously difficult to control. Could this be the real reason the monarchy was shaken? On one side stands Trevor, the ghost of the past, stripped of status and influence. On the other, Harry, the ticket that carried Meghan to the pinnacle of power. Was this choice guided by the call of the heart, or simply by a cold, calculated ranking of power? A shock-inducing hypothesis has emerged. This is not merely a love story, but a blow aimed at the act of succession itself. If Tom Bower's revelations are accurate, the legitimacy of the royal bloodline could face unprecedented questions. Is the monarchy confronting a seismic upheaval capable of reshaping modern history entirely? P. Are we witnessing an unprecedented case of constitutional fraud in history? The hypothesis that Archie carries Trevor Engelson's bloodline is not merely a personal scandal, but a severe blow to the very foundations of the monarchy. If this were true, a place in the line of succession would become a profound affront to British law. Tom Bower describes this as a painful psychological dissection, offering a different lens through which to view Megxit. Could it be that the departure in 2020 was not about privacy at all, but a flight before a secret could be exposed? Was Megxit really a calculated escape designed to get Archie away from the control of the royal medical team? Many theories suggest that the departure was meant to avoid strict DNA testing as the child began to show unusual traits. If this were true, Harry would have accepted humiliating his family and shattering his late grandmother's heart simply to protect a haunting family secret. Did he, in the end, trade away his entire life for a drama he no longer has any control over? Could it be that Harry is unknowingly becoming a shield for a genetic lie he himself is unaware of? Tom Bower's final question left the entire courtroom sinking into a bitter silence. Why was it that the moment doubts about Archie's parentage began to leak out, Meghan was determined at all costs to move to California? Is it possible that U.S. privacy laws are precisely the strongest fortress for concealing every suspicion, turning the country into the perfect safe haven for a plan calculated well in advance? The ghost from the past, known as Trevor Engelson, is resurfacing, threatening to tear apart the already fragile future of the House of Sussex. Many people mistakenly believe that Buckingham Palace is always passive in the face of scandals, but the reality may be far more ruthless. Under the late Queen Elizabeth II, the purity of bloodlines was an inviolable principle meant to safeguard the sanctity of the crown. Could this strictness be the very shield essential to the survival of the throne? And if the hypotheses surrounding lineage have any basis, is the monarchy preparing for a historic purge to protect royal authority? Is Buckingham Palace really as naive as it appears? A shocking hypothesis has just been put forward by Tom Bower the moment Archie was born at the Portland hospital. A secret genetic screening process was quietly set in motion behind thick stone walls. Was the label of routine health checks merely a cover for a vital mission to protect the legitimacy of the royal bloodline? If these revelations are accurate, the monarchy may have been preparing early on for a confrontation the House of Sussex never saw coming. If a fateful test result truly exists, where is it being kept now? One mysterious theory suggests it has never seen the light of day, but instead has been sealed inside a special safe deep beneath the palace wine cellar. Why did the monarchy choose silence rather than disclosure back in 2019? Could it be that revealing such a shocking truth at that time would have triggered an irreparable constitutional crisis? And is this silence even now a strategic move to protect the crown's last remaining stability? Imagine the collapse of an empire beginning with its deepest internal fractures. Have King Charles and Prince William ever been forced to confront a brutal choice between truth and the survival of the monarchy? At a time when Prince Andrew's scandal is already shaking royal credibility, the exposure of a bloodline fraud could be the fatal blow. Is silence the price paid to protect the monarchy from total collapse? If Tom Bower's assessments are correct, we may be witnessing a high-stakes political game in which truth is secondary to power and survival. Q. The palace's silence, rather than serving as a protective shield, inadvertently nurtured a formidable media force. This choice handed Meghan a virtual get-out-of-jail-free card to launch bold media campaigns. She clearly understood that the monarchy would never dare expose the truth for fear of scandal, thereby clearing the way for direct assaults through explosive interviews. Could it be that compassion and institutional conservatism turned into a perfect trap, one in which the palace was forced to remain silent and endure blows from the very person it sought to protect? Is Harry the most pitiable victim in this royal drama? A heartbreaking hypothesis suggests that he may be trapped inside a glass cage of lies. While Harry continually confronts his own family to protect his loved one, he may be completely unaware of a concealed hereditary secret. Could it be that this man is fighting a battle in which he himself is the one most painfully betrayed? And if this truth were to be exposed, would Harry be able to recover from the collapse of absolute trust? Harry may have placed his full faith in a happy narrative, but is he merely a pawn in a sophisticated, power-grabbing scheme? Suspicions surrounding DNA records are not just accusations. They are warning signals of what may lie hidden behind the glittering rituals of the royal family. If Archie were truly not of Windsor blood, his presence in the line of succession would become a legally and historically explosive issue. Are we standing on the brink of a truth capable of shaking the very foundations of the monarchy? As the truth gradually comes to light in 2026, we are forced to recognize the price of silence the monarchy has paid for so many years. That debt may now become a seismic shock capable of shaking even the most solid foundations. In the world of diplomacy, silence is often golden, but as the bloodline bomb detonates, the quiet from Montecito feels more like an unspoken admission. Is this the final defensive strategy, or a sign of a far deeper secret we have yet to reach? Why has Meghan Markle, someone who has previously fought fiercely in court to protect her privacy, remained silent in the face of allegations that could devastate her reputation? A major question arises: why was no defamation lawsuit filed immediately? The Sussex office is usually highly responsive, yet this time it has allowed suspicions involving Trevor Engelson and DNA to linger for weeks. Is this a deliberate silence or a sign of a truth that is difficult to deny? When silence becomes a weapon, is it protecting or exposing the deepest secrets? The answer may ultimately transform how we view the monarchy altogether. A public DNA test, conducted under the supervision of independent authorities, should have been the decisive shot to extinguish all doubts instantly. Tom Bower is gambling his reputation and career, so why not prove him wrong with transparent scientific data? Instead of confrontation, a retreat into the shadows has created a massive question mark. Is it because they cannot produce evidence, since the truth does not stand on their side? When science is rejected, suspicion becomes a haunting specter that will continue to shadow the monarchy. Is Harry the most pitiable victim in this royal drama? A heartbreaking hypothesis suggests that he is being confined in a glass cage of lies in California. While Harry continuously confronts his family to protect his loved ones, he may be completely unaware of a concealed hereditary secret. Has this man traded away his title and deep familial bonds merely to defend an illusion? If the truth about Archie and Trevor Engelson is exposed in 2026, would Harry be able to recover from the collapse of absolute trust? A tragedy awaits its final curtain. If this is true, then if Archie doesn't have Windsor blood, he might not only lose his title as prince or his seventh in line to the throne, but possibly his entire worldview. That would be a deprivation of identity that no child deserves. And assuming this is true for Harry, there might be no way back to the royal family because he, in his blind faith, seems to have unknowingly become part of a constitutional fraud. Tom Bower has ignited a battle in which there can be no absolute winner. A shocking hypothesis is gaining traction. If genetic documents were made public, the UK Parliament could be forced to intervene in a constitutional crisis of national magnitude. In the game of royal power, the truth may be hidden behind fortified wine cellars or shielded by US privacy laws, but it always finds a crack through which to leak. Could an irreversible wave be approaching, one that challenges the legitimacy of the throne and the entire system of royal authority? Who holds the final card in this historic confrontation? Is it Tom Bower, armed with secret files from the shadows, or Buckingham Palace determined to protect the crown at all costs? The courtroom proceedings in London may be on pause, but their aftershocks are set to reverberate through the British monarchy for decades to come. Will the truth step into the light, or remain forever buried beneath layers of power and intricate schemes? This question will continue to haunt the public, and perhaps only time itself can decipher this fateful game of cards. This information is for reference only based on unverified hypotheses and rumors/public opinions. Let's discuss this issue from an objective analytical perspective. Join me in examining and analyzing it from an objective point of view. Don't stand aside. Leave a 1 if you're curious or a 0 if you're still skeptical. Like and subscribe now to join me in uncovering layers of mystery and finding the truth behind the rumors. For years, rumors have swirled that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother, Doria Ragland, is far from harmonious. In recent public appearances, Doria seemed reluctant and visibly uncomfortable being pushed into the spotlight by her daughter, the woman once dubbed the fake Duchess. It's a clear sign of the growing distance between them. The tension reached its peak when Meghan revealed a shocking confession from her own mother, changing the way the world saw her entirely. If you've ever wondered about the truth behind their complicated bond, leave a 1 in the comments and take another look at Meghan Markle's wedding photos this time. Look closely because every glance might hold a story of its own. We've known for a long time that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother, Doria Ragland, hasn't been exactly smooth. In several recent public appearances, Doria appeared visibly uneasy, as if being pressured by her daughter, the so-called fake Duchess, to show up. What does that say about their relationship today? I'd say it's probably not in a good place. Since then, many events have unfolded, making the tension between mother and daughter increasingly evident. One striking moment came when Meghan accidentally revealed to the world that her mother, Doria Ragland, had made a shocking confession, one that completely changed everything we thought we knew about Meghan. Take a moment to revisit Meghan Markle's wedding photos. Don't just scroll past them, but look closely, because every frame might reveal more than meets the eye. One photo from the Windsor Castle wedding, attended by 600 guests, stands out immediately. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, sat completely alone. No, this wasn't by chance, it was deliberate, and it tells a story most people have overlooked. Meghan didn't achieve this level of success on her own. It came through marrying a wealthy, powerful, and influential man, Prince Harry, which granted her entry into the world's most famous royal family. Picture the scene: the entire royal family seated on one side, mingling with Hollywood stars, while a single woman, Doria Ragland, quietly represented Meghan's family. Doria wasn't just a guest. She was the only member of the bride's family in attendance. It was an emotional, deeply symbolic moment, one that said everything without words. But soon after, reports surfaced that Doria attended a Beyoncé concert without Meghan, and without even telling her. It was a small act that spoke volumes, revealing the growing tension between mother and daughter. Now let's talk about Thomas Markle, the man who was supposed to walk Meghan down the aisle, but ended up causing one of the biggest pre-wedding scandals of the decade. Just 5 days before the ceremony, the world watched paparazzi photos showing Thomas preparing for the big day, reading newspapers about the royal wedding, trying on his tuxedo, and strolling around as if rehearsing for a Hollywood movie. But the shocking truth soon came out. Those images weren't spontaneous at all. They were staged, reportedly linked to a $100,000 payment and a carefully planned media scheme. Can you imagine it? The palace had planned every detail of the royal wedding with precision, and then this storm hit out of nowhere. The British press had a field day. Every major paper ran headlines questioning Thomas's motives, throwing the entire ceremony into chaos. The palace was forced to act quickly, seating arrangements, roles, timing, everything had to be reconsidered. And who stepped in to save the day? Prince Charles, calm, composed, and masterful, took Thomas's place at the last moment, walking Meghan down the aisle in what became a true royal rescue mission. If you agree that Prince Charles's gesture was a noble and heartfelt act, leave a 2 in the comments. But if you believe it was simply a clever political move by the royal family, comment 5 and share your thoughts. The drama didn't stop with Thomas. Meghan's half-siblings, Samantha Markle and Thomas Jr., added even more fuel to the fire. Samantha, outspoken and unapologetic, despite her struggles with multiple sclerosis, gave countless interviews claiming that fame had changed Meghan and that the royal spotlight had driven her away from her family. It all began to feel less like real life and more like a reality show playing out on live television. Thomas Jr. took things even further when he wrote an open letter directly to Prince Harry questioning whether Harry truly understood Meghan's family drama and warning him about the trouble that could unfold at the wedding. Imagine being Prince Harry reading that letter. It must have been infuriating. These public statements were no small matter. They forced the palace to address issues that were normally handled behind closed doors. For decades, royal weddings had been known for their flawless planning precision and carefully managed image. But suddenly, Meghan's family drama became international news, front-page headlines, viral debates on social media, and every word analyzed under a microscope. Amid all the turmoil, reports emerged that the tension between Meghan and her mother had reached a breaking point. Doria Ragland allegedly declared she'd had enough and decided to leave Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion for good. According to Radar Online, Doria felt used by Meghan, especially when it came to caring for her 2 children, Archie and Lilibet. Sources claimed Meghan even pleaded with her mother, saying, "Don't leave me," as Doria packed her bags and walked away, leaving Meghan and Harry feeling abandoned. The 68-year-old yoga instructor had moved into the Sussex's sprawling California estate in 2024 to help them through a difficult period, but now she reportedly longs to return to her own life and social circle in Los Angeles. Back on the wedding day at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle with 600 guests, including royals, celebrities, and dignitaries, Doria Ragland sat quietly alone on the bride's side. While cameras captured every dazzling detail, it was Doria's calm presence that told the real story. She wasn't just attending, she was carrying the weight of Meghan's entire family on her shoulders, representing decades of a mother's love, guidance, and unwavering support. It was a quiet kind of strength, one that never sought attention, yet effortlessly commanded it. Doria remained calm amid the storm stirred up by her ex-husband Thomas Markle and Meghan's half-siblings. She became the emotional anchor, the only person capable of keeping the family grounded in the chaos. Meghan chose her mother as the sole representative of her family, avoiding the extended family drama and awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had always been her source of strength through every trial. Although their mother-daughter bond was once very close, especially during the period when Doria lived with Meghan's family to offer support, her departure in July 2025 revealed clear signs of strain. Meghan still posted a birthday tribute to her mother on Instagram in September 2025, showing that they remained in contact, yet sources suggest Doria had grown weary of her daughter's constant drama. This may point to a more complex family dynamic, particularly as Meghan and Harry continue to face public and personal challenges, from losing major deals to enduring relentless media pressure. Harry has also seen Doria as a mother figure, a source of emotional strength and comfort. This was clearly reflected in Meghan's decision on her wedding day. While most royal weddings focus on filling seats, creating picture-perfect moments for the cameras and pleasing distant relatives, Meghan chose a different path. She made her mother, Doria Ragland, the sole representative of her family. There was no extended family drama, no awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had been her steadfast support through every challenge. Doria was not just present, she was a symbol of loyalty and resilience. A source once said, "Doria is content with how the family is moving forward. She's ready to focus on her own life." Yet her presence alone was a quiet but powerful statement. It showed that family isn't about numbers, it's about presence, trust, and love. Doria embodied all of that. Sitting silently in St. George's Chapel, she conveyed a message stronger than any speech or toast could ever express. The palace clearly understood Doria's importance. They assigned staff specifically to ensure her comfort, guiding her through each step of the ceremony and making sure she was fully supported. Every detail from her seat placement to the timing was handled with precision and care. This wasn't just about logistics. It was a gesture of respect for the woman who had raised the bride. That respect was evident in every camera angle. The image of Doria sitting calmly on her own, carrying the weight of the family with quiet dignity, spoke volumes about Meghan's values more than any wedding gown, tiara, or bouquet ever could. However, tensions began to surface when Doria decided to move out of Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion. According to one insider, she had grown tired of Meghan's constant complaints and drama and felt she was being used to care for her grandchildren Archie and Lilibet. It's hard to blame her at 68. The yoga instructor wanted to return to her own independent life and social circle in Los Angeles. She planned to visit often, but no longer live with them full-time. Meghan reportedly pleaded with her mother, saying, "Don't leave me," and both she and Harry were said to have felt abandoned by Doria's departure. Doria had long been fiercely loyal to Meghan, even appearing in the couple's Netflix documentary as part of her daughter's story. However, she reportedly grew weary of Meghan's treatment of others and the constant stream of drama surrounding her. Known for her calm and grounded nature, Doria no longer wanted to endure the emotional toll. Some sources suggest that she once quietly encouraged Meghan to use the narrative of racism as a way to counter the media's criticism, but now she prefers to distance herself from the chaos entirely. Fast forward a few years, Meghan's journey to explore her ancestral roots drew widespread attention. A DNA test revealed she was 43% Nigerian, instantly sparking debate across social media. Fans, critics, and experts alike joined in discussions about race identity and public perception. Doria also contributed to the conversation when she commented on Meghan's heritage during an appearance on The Daily Show. What should have been a deeply personal moment to celebrate identity instead became a topic of public speculation. People began to question whether Meghan truly understood her DNA results and whether the database itself was accurate. What started as a family history exploration quickly turned into public drama. This journey was never just about science, it was deeply personal, tied to Meghan's sense of identity, belonging, and connection. Yet under the glare of public scrutiny, every word and gesture was magnified. It became the story of a woman trying to navigate the intersection of fame, family, and cultural expectation. Meghan and Harry's wedding became a masterclass in managing modern media chaos. In the age of social networks, a single tweet An Instagram story or a YouTube clip can send a narrative spiraling beyond the palace's control. Unlike royal weddings of the past, where press releases shaped the story, Meghan's family drama spread instantly and uncontrollably. Palace staff were forced to respond in real time, constantly adjusting statements and addressing waves of speculation as the story evolved. They learned that the old approach, quietly smoothing things over and hoping nothing leaked, was no longer effective. Modern family dynamics demanded strategy, foresight, and realism. The palace began thoroughly vetting family situations before major events, anticipating social media reactions and managing expectations with a careful balance between tradition and modern reality. The unforgettable image of Doria Ragland sitting alone at St. George's Chapel may have appeared lonely at first glance, but on closer look it symbolized loyalty, resilience, and the true meaning of family. Doria wasn't just attending, she was Meghan's emotional anchor amid the storm of media and family turmoil. She represented Meghan's past, her struggles, and the enduring support system that shaped her strength and identity. Meghan's wedding reminded the world that even the most glamorous events are layered with complex human realities. Cultural tensions, media scrutiny, family drama, and personal identity all collided in a single historic moment. Through it all, Doria Ragland, with her calm presence and unwavering loyalty, became the quiet center of the story, proving that sometimes standing gracefully outside the chaos is the strongest position of all. Harry also saw Doria as a second mother, and this was where Meghan's priorities truly shone. While most weddings focus on filling seats, looking perfect for the cameras, and pleasing distant relatives, Meghan chose a different path. She made her mother, Doria Ragland, the sole representative of her family. There was no extended family drama, no awkward seating charts, just one woman who had always been her pillar of strength through every hardship, from career struggles and family turmoil to the relentless scrutiny of the public eye. A source revealed Doria is content with how the family is progressing. She's ready to focus on her own life. Yet her presence itself was a quiet but powerful statement. It showed that family isn't about numbers, it's about presence, trust, and love. Doria embodied all of that. Sitting silently, she sent a message stronger than any speech or blessing. She plans to visit often but no longer live with them full-time. An insider said that Meghan and Harry feel completely lost, and Meghan must be wondering if something isn't quite right. The palace clearly recognized Doria's importance. They assigned staff specifically to ensure her comfort, guiding her through every step of the ceremony and making sure she was fully supported. Every detail, from her seating to the timing, was handled with care. But the truth is, she had grown weary of Meghan's constant complaints and ongoing drama, and so she had to leave. Can anyone really blame her? Honestly, could you? This wasn't just about logistics. It was about respect for the woman who raised the bride. That respect was visible in every camera shot. The image of Doria sitting calmly on her own, carrying the weight of the family with quiet dignity, spoke more about Meghan's values than any wedding dress, tiara, or bouquet ever could. Doria has always been fiercely loyal to Meghan. For a time, she even drank the Kool-Aid, becoming part of the narrative used in Meghan and Harry's Netflix documentary. Yet by choosing to prioritize her mother over appearances or royal expectations, Meghan showed the world that true family loyalty outweighs ceremonial perfection. And honestly, that choice has shaped how the public perceives her family and her life ever since. Doria has witnessed her daughter being exposed for lies, for how Meghan uses people and treats those around her. As a calm, yoga-loving woman, she has simply decided she doesn't want to endure it any longer. Meghan's ancestral roots sparked major attention when a DNA test revealed she was 43% Nigerian, a revelation that immediately ignited controversy across social media. Fans, critics, and experts alike jumped into heated debates about race identity and public perception. Doria added to the conversation when she commented on Meghan's heritage during The Daily Show. What should have been a deeply personal moment quickly turned into public speculation. People began questioning whether Meghan truly understood her DNA results, and even whether the databases themselves were accurate. In an instant, family history turned into public drama. This wasn't just a scientific matter, it was deeply personal, tied to identity, belonging, and connection. But under the relentless gaze of public scrutiny, every word and gesture became magnified. It evolved into a story about a woman navigating fame, family, and cultural expectations. Some observers argued that Doria may have unintentionally enabled Meghan's questionable behavior, especially her use of the racial narrative as a shield against media criticism. Meghan's family continues to serve as the backdrop for ongoing drama. The constant remarks from her half-siblings, Thomas Markle's past controversies, and Doria's steady presence all remind the world that Meghan's life is far from a perfect fairy tale. It's complicated, messy, and under constant scrutiny. Meghan has faced criticism for allegedly leaving much of the child care to her mother. And when Doria chose to take time for herself, like attending a concert, Meghan reportedly felt betrayed. The cultural clash between Meghan's open, outspoken American family and the British royal family's reserved, traditional ways created fireworks. Thomas Jr.'s open letters, Samantha's interviews, and Thomas Sr.'s staged photos all collided with the monarchy's expectations of privacy and dignity. The palace found itself managing not just a royal wedding, but a full-scale family drama playing out in public view. Royal staff had to handle more than protocol and tradition. They were managing a global audience armed with smartphones, cameras, and opinions ready to explode at any moment. Meghan has been accused of neglecting her children and leaving everything to her mother. But when Doria wanted to live her own life, Meghan reportedly couldn't accept it. The cultural divide didn't just affect wedding logistics, it shaped public perception. People watched the drama unfold in real time, comparing Meghan's background to centuries of royal expectations. Through it all, Doria, calm and resilient, became the quiet center of the storm. Yet even she has grown tired of Meghan's self-centered behavior and her refusal to accept that her mother deserves her own independence. In the age of social media, a single tweet, an Instagram story, or a YouTube clip can send a narrative spiraling out of the palace's control. Unlike previous royal weddings, where press releases shaped the story, Meghan's family drama spread instantly. Every detail, from absences and letters to interviews, went viral. The palace's communications team had to respond in real time, constantly updating statements and managing waves of speculation. The lesson from the wedding was clear. Family drama is public drama, and no plan can fully contain it in a hyper-connected world. The palace learned that the old approach, quietly smoothing things over, no longer works. They began vetting family backgrounds more carefully, anticipating social media reactions, and accepting that complete control of the narrative is impossible. Yet they also discovered the value of Doria's approach. A calm, respected family member can balance the chaos, bring a sense of continuity, and preserve dignity amidst the storm. The unforgettable image remains Doria Ragland sitting alone inside St. George's Chapel. At first glance, it might have looked lonely, but it was in truth a symbol of loyalty, resilience, and genuine family values. Doria wasn't just attending. She was Meghan's emotional anchor, carrying the weight of family history amid a storm of media frenzy and cultural tension. Meghan's wedding became a lesson in managing modern media chaos, and Doria stood at its calm, loving center, even as their mother-daughter relationship now faces new strains. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more royalness of tradition envelops every entity a variable has emerged. The biggest question currently dominating analytical forums is, can a piece of jewelry carry the weight of a soul? When Princess Catherine entered the presence of the lover's knot, tiara seemed to transcend mere fashion choices. It was like an invisible wave frequency, suddenly activated, connecting reality with a past that many had perhaps hoped would remain dormant. There are unverified opinions suggesting that the moment the crown appeared under the lights, the entire psychological structure of the auditorium was altered. We are not talking about individuals. We are analyzing the clash of heritage lines. Many observers hypothesize that Catherine donning Diana's shield of light seems to have created a rupture in the attempt to establish a new order. Rumors began to circulate a fleeting smile or even tears behind closed doors from Queen Camilla. But was it personal weakness or a natural reaction of a system facing an overwhelming legacy ghost? Let's pose an investigative question. What happens when a current monarch faces the symbol of someone who has become a legend? For Queen Camilla, the presence of the lover's knot crown was perhaps more than just beauty. Some socio-psychological analysts hypothesize that this is a reminder of an unfillable void. Her name is intrinsically linked to the upheavals of the past, and the appearance of Diana's memorabilia on the next generation is like a historical reenactment, a scenario where public affection seems to always have a unique place to reside. Could this be a subtle arrangement of time? The crown itself cannot speak, but within the narrative system, it has the power to amplify the truth. Catherine, with her grace and rising status, seems poised to inherit not just the jewelry, but the very energy Diana left behind. Meanwhile, a perplexing question arises. While an entity may wield the scepter administrative power, can they truly possess the spiritual legacy, something the system cannot automatically transfer to its successor? That night at Buckingham Palace was more than just a party. It was a display of political and emotional power. The crown did its job. It not only glittered, it reclassified positions in the hearts of the fans. We may never know exactly what happened behind closed doors, but one thing is clear in the royal chessboard: sometimes a small item can have the power to change the entire emotional landscape. And you, which theory do you believe? Is this a mere coincidence or a carefully calculated silent message to assert the future? Leave your opinion in the comments so we can unravel this mystery together. Within the realm of high-level rituals, it is hypothesized that when a treasure is bestowed, it ceases to be personal possession. It becomes a fusion of physical form and spiritual symbolism. For Queen Camilla, the moment she saw Catherine wearing that crown was perhaps more than just a ceremonial event. Many systemic observers believe it was a grim confirmation of an impenetrable space. Some things belong to administrative hierarchy, but others belong solely to spiritual connection. A major question arises: is this the final boundary that even the status of a queen cannot cross? Why, with the same piece of jewelry, is the effect so drastically different? Catherine is not just adorning herself with diamonds, she is activating a stream of memories. She seems to have found a perfectly compatible frequency with her late predecessor. When the crown appears, the public sees not just a modern figure, but a continuation of compassion and iconic style. Meanwhile, despite holding supreme privileges, Queen Camilla seems to face an invisible barrier. A piece of jewelry can be passed on according to law, but the emotional connection is something that cannot be copied or possessed. You can own the physical object, but you don't necessarily own the source code of the story behind it. Why is a treasure with the greatest emotional impact not in the hands of the person with the highest status? According to post-Balmoral procedures, Queen Camilla should have had the priority of choice. So what happened? Some unverified sources suggest that the late Queen Elizabeth II established a soft power transfer strategy years ago. The crown wasn't left behind, it was a carefully calculated promise. Did Camilla deliberately refuse to avoid a direct confrontation with the ghost of the past, a clever choice to protect the system from unnecessary chain reactions? In the world of symbols, it's believed that objects possess sentience, seeking out the heir with the most compatible frequency. In the mathematics of power, titles are fixed variables, but in the mathematics of the crowd, resonance is the decisive variable. Catherine wore the crown, not just an object. She wore a promise of the future. This created a powerful visual effect, causing people to forget the orthodox reality and focus on a vision of succession. Conversely, Queen Camilla seems to be facing a phenomenon of light scattering. Despite appearing with the most powerful weapons, such as the crown of the late Queen Elizabeth II, to affirm stability and loyalty, the frequency of response from the public was extremely weak. SL. Why? Because in the age of new media, history can be presented, but emotions must be connected. We are witnessing a rare phenomenon when a figure of lower official standing holds a higher symbolic power. Catherine doesn't need to speak. The crown on her head is the perfect speech. The final question we need to ponder is, can a monarchy function effectively when the hearts of the people and the official scepter lie on opposite sides? Are there emotional territories that even the title of queen is permanently forbidden from entering? Some analysts believe that Diana left behind more than just memories. She left behind an incredibly powerful legacy code within the system. Every time Princess Catherine appears wearing the iconic tiara, a psychological resonance occurs. The public doesn't just see the sparkling diamonds. They see a modern translation of Diana's kindness, empathy, and the ups and downs she experienced. Many believe that when they look at Catherine, they see a calmer, more steadfast version of the past. This creates an invisible challenge for Queen Camilla. Although she remained devoted to King Charles, fulfilling all her duties with remarkable steadfastness, there seemed to be a frequency gap between her and the public. There's an unspoken truth in the world of iconography. Public affection isn't something that can be produced through mere effort. Catherine didn't try to seize that position. She seemed to have been chosen by the system to be the successor. Her composure under pressure and her ability to connect without words built a solid network of trust. When she donned Diana's favorite crown, it wasn't a performance. It was an affirmation of continuity. While Camilla wielded official power and formal ceremonies, Catherine held the most powerful force in a modern monarchy, voluntary admiration. And this is the crux of all the theories. Why did such a powerful and emotionally significant symbol belong to Catherine hierarchically? Queen Camilla had priority rights in the selection of royal treasures. So what happened in the palace's closed-door meetings that led to the lover's knot tiara, an item capable of changing the emotional landscape, being passed on to Catherine instead of the head of state R? Within this space of hypotheses and the clash of symbols of power, your perspective is the final piece to complete the systemic picture. Faced with the contrast between legitimacy of title and emotional belonging, how do you perceive the positions of the characters in this scenario? If you believe that heritage, aura, and natural connection are irreplaceable forces of power, leave comment number 2. Conversely, if you believe in the value of perseverance and persistent effort to establish a place within the legitimate order, leave comment number 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe now, so we don't lose touch on our next journeys, deciphering royal codes. Was there a strategic arrangement to protect the Queen's image from overly harsh direct comparisons, or was this part of a pre-planned future positioning scheme orchestrated by the late Queen Elizabeth II to ensure the dynasty's survival through public favor? In the shadows of Buckingham Palace's most fortified vaults, there are objects that exist more than just in physical form. They are memory entities. Let's hypothesize what happens when a piece of jewelry carries within it too many emotional frequencies of its previous owner. The Lover's Knot tiara didn't just start with Diana. It's a legacy design from 1914 for Queen Mary passed down to Queen Elizabeth II before becoming a part of the destiny of the Princess of Wales. But its history is more than just a series of dates. It's a journey of resonance and pain. One detail that system analysts often note, the tiara is renowned for its opulent beauty, but also carries a terrifying physical weight. Many discerning observers suggest that the sheer weight of the pearls and diamonds on the tiara accurately reflects the pressure Diana endured within the royal system. Despite the physical pain caused by the object, Diana never showed a crack in her grace. She transformed a burden into a symbol of existence. Each time she appeared with it, the system seemed to send a signal, "I am still here despite all the crushing pressure." After the traumatic events of 1997, this treasure suddenly disappeared. It wasn't just put away in a glass case, it was isolated from reality. For 18 years, the crown lay silently in the shadows, as if the system were trying to let the painful memories associated with it fade into oblivion. Until 2015, an energy shift occurred. The reappearance of the tiara on Catherine's head was not just a fashion event, it was a systemic shock. People asked, why now and why Catherine? This is the key point that theories of hidden power stratification focus on. According to official protocol, Queen Camilla always had absolute priority in accessing the personal jewels of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Why would someone holding the first choice allow the most iconic, most powerful piece of jewelry to fall into the hands of someone of lower rank? Was there perhaps a silent agreement behind the palace walls? Some experts hypothesize that Catherine's possession of the crown was not a random concession. It was a strategic decision by the system to reposition the legacy. Catherine wasn't just wearing the crown, she was performing a ritual of spiritual migration, bringing Diana's spirit back to reality in a more harmonious and calm way. Meanwhile, Camilla's avoidance of the crown could be seen as a clever act of self-defense, an attempt to avoid being consumed by the overwhelming brilliance of her predecessor. This silent battle isn't decided by titles, but by the conquest of space in the public mind. The Lover's Knot crown has chosen a new host to continue its story. Even though Camilla holds the highest title in the game of icons, sometimes emotional belonging is the true crown that no one can take away. In a system driven by centuries of tradition, no division is random. Imagine a vast treasure trove, from crowns studded with thousands of diamonds to brooches steeped in history. According to the hierarchy of preferences theory, Queen Camilla, as the head of the female line, holds the power of first choice. But this is where an unexpected variable emerges. Why didn't the person holding the priority choose the item with the strongest media dominance? Potential unverified sources suggest this wasn't simply a concession, but the result of a long-programmed inheritance algorithm. Is there a secret behind why the lover's not crown fell to Catherine instead of Camilla? Many observers question whether the late Queen Elizabeth II left behind a secret instruction. Some analyses suggest that the late Queen may have seen in Catherine a perfect frequency compatibility with Diana's legacy. Giving the crown to Catherine was not merely a gift but a soft power weapon to protect the future of the monarchy. Another possibility is, did King Charles III make a balancing act? By supporting Catherine in retaining Diana's mementos, he may have been subtly building a bridge between a painful past and a stable future through a woman whom the public wholeheartedly trusted. Let's look at the outcome of this division as a case study of the distribution of influence. In a meticulously designed system to preserve the dynasty's survival, the allocation of these diamond entities appears to be a strategy of polarizing symbolic power. On one side is Queen Camilla, entrusted with holding historical archives, such as the Greville Crown or Queen Mary's jewels. These treasures serve as solid pillars, affirming the absolute legitimacy and stability of the monarchical structure in reality. However, at the opposite extreme, Princess Catherine was entrusted by the system with items capable of activating powerful emotional frequencies, notably the Lover's Knot tiara and Princess Margaret's memorabilia. Observers of the system hypothesize that this is a sophisticated arrangement for Catherine to hold the code of connection with the public. A silent but decisive division, one represents the administrative power of the present, while the other represents the spiritual legacy and the breath of the future. While Camilla possesses more opulent and historically significant royal items, Catherine possesses items that speak. G. As an unwritten rule among observers, in the royal world, the most valuable item isn't measured by the number of carats of diamonds, but by the weight of the story behind it. This division seems to have redrawn the map of influence within the palace. Camilla's retreat in this symbolic race may be a shrewd self-defense strategy, avoiding becoming the target of harsh comparisons. The final question remains open. Could it be that these small pieces of jewelry are shaping who truly holds the future of the monarchy in the hearts of the fans? In the royal power equation, time is often the measure of loyalty. Consider a hypothesis about patience. An entity has spent decades navigating storms of criticism, silently enduring to finally claim the legitimate crown. That is the journey of Queen Camilla. However, the system always contains unexpected variables. Many observers have noticed a strange phenomenon. When Camilla's moment of greatest glory arrives, another light emerges and gradually takes center stage. Is there a quiet heartache in realizing that you may possess the crown, but someone else possesses the fairy tale? While Camilla held the ceremonial rites, Catherine seemed to have inherited the entire emotional current that the public craved. The Lover's Knot crown, when worn by Catherine, was not merely a material inheritance. It was likened to a broadcasting device, sending a subtle yet powerful message into the palace. A family heirloom originally meant to celebrate beauty had become a sharp visual weapon, SEC. It created a disruption in the psychological structure of the system. For inside observers, this appearance was not merely a tribute to tradition, it was more like an implicit affirmation of who was truly leading the flow of Diana's legacy into the future. What made this event a seismic event in the press and on social media, it was its originality. The analysis showed that Catherine was not trying to mimic or copy Diana. Instead, she seemed to be continuing that frequency with astonishing naturalness. Her composure, demeanor, and bearing have reactivated the public's deepest memories of a people's princess. This is the boundary that Camilla's legitimate power can hardly cross. She may appear at the most important events adorned with the most priceless treasures, but there is an undeniable reality: this crown contains a spirit that the system allows only one heir to inherit. Now we are witnessing a rare phenomenon in the system of royal symbolism, the migration of a symbolic spirit. Catherine was not merely the inheritor of a physical object. She seemed to have mastered the frequency that the legacy emitted. This is a kind of energy that cannot be borrowed or exchanged through any administrative protocol. Public opinion has put forward a thought-provoking hypothesis. For Queen Camilla, is there some invisible barrier that renders even the most opulent royal treasures silent when placed alongside the emotional power of the past? No matter how many treasures she possesses, the ultimate goal of belonging in the public consciousness seems to remain a territory beyond her reach. The impact of that moment was almost instantaneous. The internet not only exploded, but it also created a phenomenon known as time convergence. Comparative images of the past, Diana and the present Catherine, spread at breakneck speed, creating a perfect mirror effect. Phrases like "symbol of the modern people" or "heartbeat keeper 2.0" began to appear. At that point, the crown transcended the definition of a piece of jewelry. It became a locator, indicating who the public believed would lead the future of the dynasty. In the same banquet space, a test of attention was naturally conducted. Queen Camilla also appeared with another precious crown, but it seemed to have fallen into a dark zone of perception. System observers noted a striking contrast. While all eyes and global data flows were focused on the Diana frequency that Catherine was emitting, the presence of the head of the hierarchy was strangely discreet. Could this not be a coincidence, but the result of a silent confrontation between legal power and emotional power? And in this scenario, the world seems to have already answered for itself, which aura their hearts truly gravitate towards. In the ecosystem of high-level rituals, we often mistakenly believe that power lies in documented titles. But let's consider another hypothesis. True power lies in the ability to command emotional space. That moment carries a weight far beyond the physical dimensions of a diamond or pearl. It is the connection between reality and a collective memory. When Princess Catherine chose that particular treasure, she wasn't simply adorning herself. She is performing a ritual of synchronization with the heartbeats of millions, those who are still searching for a continuation of a legend that has never faded. System analysts believe there are two kinds of crowns in the palace. One is worn by legal ceremony, and the other is worn by public recognition. For Queen Camilla, the presence of the crown on Catherine's head is perhaps a grim reminder of a gray area of memory she has strived to cover for years. Not all crowns glitter under the lights. There are crowns woven with empathy, compassion, and the scars of the past. Catherine's gesture inadvertently stirred up an old energy current, where the priorities of the people's hearts seem to always have a distinct destination regardless of official titles. A major question arises in our thought lab. Can this moment be reversed, or has it created a permanent rupture in the soft power structure of the monarchy? Unverified public opinion suggests this is not merely a coincidence. It is the culmination of a system of accumulated tension that began long before these crowns appeared on the front pages of newspapers. To decipher this long-standing divide, we need to peel back the layers of data about a chaotic relationship, a complex history built on expectations undercurrents of rivalry and the harsh rules of survival behind the velvet curtain. When we peel back the layers of this power structure, we encounter invisible variables capable of shifting the entire emotional landscape. G. First, there is the power of a legacy aura, where the characteristic frequencies of Diana's legacy seem to have been fully absorbed by Catherine, creating a significant visual overshadowing of existing mainstream realities. This resonance leads to the rise of emotional legitimacy, a voluntary and powerful choice on the part of the public which inadvertently makes official titles sometimes less significant in contemporary social discussions. Ultimately, all these elements are set against the backdrop of historical fissures, underlying contradictions that have existed since the past, transforming a piece of jewelry from an inanimate object into a psychological trigger, reigniting deep debates about the status and value of each entity within the flow of time. Tension is believed to have begun the moment Prince William introduced a new figure into the royal inner circle. Let's consider a hypothesis about the system's defense mechanism. Some unverified sources suggest that the anxiety stems not from the individual's personality, but from the structural origins of this person. In an environment built on strict lineage structures, the entry of an individual outside the traditional aristocracy into the center of power created a major upheaval. To observers, this was a case of cultural genetic incompatibility. To understand this tension, we need to analyze two entirely different operating models. Consider Queen Camilla's journey. It was fraught with pressure, harsh judgment, and persistent effort to gain acceptance from the system. Her position was not a gift, but the result of a decades-long struggle. Conversely, the new figure, Catherine, emerged with a peculiar ability, almost instantaneous capture of public sentiment. Was there a systemic injustice at play? When one person sacrifices their entire life for recognition, while another receives overwhelming support overnight, it inevitably creates unavoidable flow pressures between the two entities. Would this difference in origin and path to power create a permanent rift in the structure of the modern monarchy? Or was this a necessary evolutionary process for the system to connect with the outside world? This isn't just the story of two women. It's a clash between the old value of steadfastness and the new value of spreading awareness. This information is for reference only based on unverified hypotheses and rumors/public opinions. Let's discuss this issue from an objective, analytical perspective. Will the rise of the new symbol permanently change the structure of the dynasty or merely ripples in the power struggle? Share your thoughts? Press 1. If you want to delve deeper into these secrets, press 0. If you are skeptical about the layers of mystery, remember to like and subscribe so you don't. Have you ever wondered what really happens behind those polished smiles on palace balconies when the camera flashes go out? Recently, royal observers and the online community have been buzzing about a hypothesis, a moment of profound impact, a moment that is said to have shaken the very foundations of tradition. It seems that months of silence have been broken, not with a dry press release, but with a voice carrying undercurrents of emotion. Numerous unverified sources suggest that a woman traditionally considered a symbol of composure, the Princess of Wales, has chosen an unprecedented path to protect the most fundamental values of motherhood. Is there a secret hidden behind these seemingly perfect royal portraits? Let's analyze the controversial data. Amidst the flow of public events, questions are beginning to arise about the absence of a little star in the family. From Easter events to commemorative photographs, a strange pattern seems to have formed. Particularly suspicious is a family photo, where image experts believe algorithmic editing has been used. The question here isn't just, where is the boy? But, why does the truth need to be covered with such elaborate layers of paint? Some theories suggest that this is not simply a physical absence, but rather a top-secret protection against a fragile reality that the palace is not yet ready to reveal. If the rumors are true, then this could be a revolution in thinking within those gilded walls. The image of a mother standing up, overcoming all the barriers of tradition to protect her child's special status, has created a powerful wave of emotion. Insiders suggest that this is not just about releasing information, but a declaration of transparency. It's a moment where the naked truth confronts the glitz and glamour of power. A crack has appeared in the system of information control, and the person who created it is none other than the most beloved figure. Is this the beginning of a new royal era, where truth reigns supreme over ritual, or merely another sad chapter in the history of long-established dynasties? The secret trips to medical facilities and the unusual silence of palace aides remain major unanswered questions. What do you think about the theories surrounding this event? Was Catherine's decision to speak out really the right step to protect her family? Please leave your opinion in the comments so we can discuss it together. The final straw from the perspective of many observers was the moment a solitary figure was captured, leaving the back entrance of a highly secure pediatric facility. Through the lenses of the paparazzi, a very different Catherine was seen, head bowed, withdrawn, and surrounded by unidentified steel machines. The palace chose to remain silent, but in the modern world, silence can sometimes be the most powerful form of communication. That photograph was not just a data file. It was a symbol of simmering anxiety, a testament to the undercurrents that had begun to pound the foundations of steadfastness. Mysteries are often not solved by public inquiry, but sometimes are revealed by a cruel twist of fate. There are theories that an accidental crack in a heavily guarded internal storage system allowed a file labeled "Top Secret" to slip out of the shadows. This appears to be less of a deliberate conspiracy and more of an administrative error, a momentary lapse in the vast machinery of operation. An internal memo containing identities and words of immense weight inadvertently fell into the mailbox of someone who should never have seen it. From there, an irreversible chain reaction began. This leaked document, if real, has opened a new lens through which to view the reality of the youngest prince. Instead of well wishes, the page was filled with dry medical jargon, the progression of symptoms, tracking the long-term roadmap, or abstract concepts about differences in neurological development. What is even more noteworthy is not just the medical diagnoses, but the strategy known as controlled narrative management. This raises a philosophical question. Why would a child's natural development require a communication strategy as complex as a military campaign? Could it be that behind those gilded walls, the truth is being weighed and measured to conform to the mold of royal power? As soon as these pieces of the puzzle reached London's insiders, a real shockwave erupted behind closed doors. Telephone lines blazed and legal barriers were erected with lightning speed to stop the flow of information. But it seemed the dike of security had begun to crack beyond repair. An emergency meeting, a survival summit, was convened under the highest command. It wasn't just an effort to protect a medical record, but a battle to preserve the dignity and image of an institution against the pressure of the unvarnished truth. In the war between the right to know of the public and the right to be protected, what are the most humane boundaries regarding a child's privacy? Is the palace's excessive control of information protecting Prince Louis, or has this very secrecy inadvertently thrust him into the eye of speculation? At a summit where power is highly concentrated, presence is often mandatory. Yet the focus of all attention is on one particular individual. Vast, empty space. The chair reserved for Catherine remained empty, raising a bigger question than any explanation could offer. P. Analysts have put forward a bold hypothesis. Is this a withdrawal to preserve emotions, or is it the silent strike? Defying a strict security system. Whispers in the hallways suggest that the woman who had always adhered to the rules may have known about the existence of the sensitive documents long ago, and her silence regarding the leak was her way of letting the truth find its way out. The recent leak has exposed an undeniable reality. The presence of the youngest prince is not simply an ordinary part of life, but seems to have become a part of it all. A tightly managed media project. People are beginning to doubt the authenticity of those smiles on camera. Could there be a meticulously staged script behind it designed to conceal a dark area that the palace believes the public is not yet ready to accept? The biggest question now is no longer about health, but about the ethics of transparency. The tension reached its peak behind closed doors, where an unprecedented confrontation is said to have erupted. Witnesses recounted that Princess Anne, who was considered a symbol of unwavering steadfastness and absolute loyalty, chose to break all protocol. In a moment when emotion overpowered reason, she confronted the head of the monarchy, not as a subject, but as an aunt seeking redress, the right to live authentically for her grandson. Accusations of a calculated silence and a betrayal of honesty rang out, shaking even the most solid stone walls. When the head of the monarchy offered arguments about preserving the image and state secrets, Anne posed a fateful question. Can a throne built on silence withstand the storms of faith? The moment she left the meeting, marked by signs of emotion, was not merely an act of departure, but a clear polarization. It seemed that Catherine's most loyal confidant had chosen to side with her with the naked truth rather than the veils of deception. We often say, "The truth will set us free." But in the world of supreme power, is truth a gift or a fire that can consume everything? In her most solitary moments, it is believed that a powerful whisper became Catherine's last refuge. Do what your conscience tells you to do. It wasn't just advice, but permission for her to step outside established norms. Many theories suggest that Catherine had prepared a final plan, an irreversible act, to protect what she held dearest. And at the heart of that event was a tangible yet powerful object, a handwritten letter hidden beneath layers of family mementos in a place even the closest could hardly reach. Without royal insignia or garish red seals, the letter was simply words on cream-colored paper. But hidden behind that simplicity was something, a powerful wave of repressed emotions. It is said that the letter was found by chance during a rearrangement of private spaces in Kensington. The opening lines were a painful apology. "If you find these words, I probably won't have the courage to face you directly anymore. That's not a press release, that's a confessions of the soul. In those pages, Catherine is said to have poured out her heart about a parallel reality unknown to the world. It describes long nights facing terrifying silence and the desperate search for hope from professionals under anonymous identities to avoid media scrutiny. Most painful of all are the descriptions of a child forcing a smile in front of the camera while inside a fragile reality was slowly crumbling. The letter exposed a harsh truth. The price of royal perfection sometimes comes at the cost of sacrificing one's most genuine human emotions. Catherine did not direct any reproach at William. On the contrary, she described him as a solid pillar upon which the entire system rested. However, she also bravely exposed the cracks in his soul. Behind his imposing public image, this man is said to have endured intense inner struggles immersed in the silence of the palace walls. This is a deeply humane and insightful observation, showing that even those at the pinnacle of power are merely ordinary human beings in the face of family pain. If this letter truly exists, is it a warning for the future of the dynasty? Can a dynasty continue to exist based on staged smiles, or is it time for truth to be respected as the most fundamental value? How do you feel about the pain of a mother having to choose between national duty and the call of her heart? If you see her as a symbol of courage, leave a 2. If you are skeptical about truth and tradition, leave a 5. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next discoveries. Your support is the strength that brings the truth to light. Catherine used her final strokes to paint a completely different portrait of her husband. Not a powerful prince, but a father with trembling hands, sleepless nights, and quiet moments by his son's bedside as night fell. It was a silent presence, a desperate attempt to rediscover a glimmer of family warmth amidst a cold royal court. Those who have read the letter cannot help but feel sorrow at the weight of these words. The boy was slowly fading into the shadows, yet they still demanded that he smile. That statement was not merely a sigh, it was an exposure of an invisible but ruthless pressure where public image was placed above human suffering. Insiders suggest that when the letter reached William at Sandringham, the place holding the most innocent childhood memories, a pivotal change occurred. For hours, time seemed to stand still. There were no heated arguments, no rational resistance. As William emerged from the room, his face pale, he seemed to have made a tacit decision. He stopped struggling with Catherine's maternal instincts. He stepped back, allowing her to speak the truth. For the letter was not just a personal account, it was an emotional testament. The palace demanded ultimate transparency. However, while the palace was still striving to maintain its impeccable facade, an unexpected act from a controversial figure turned everything upside down. After years of estrangement and seemingly irreparable rifts, a brief but powerful message arrived from the other side of the world. You. Many sources claim that it was the younger brother who had previously abdicated the throne who decided not to stand idly by. With the experience of someone who had tasted the suffocating grip of secrecy, he sent a haunting message: "I understand the feeling of being kept in the dark. Let's not let history repeat itself." From thousands of miles away, the exiled prince witnessed the media storm raging against his sister-in-law and nephew. He recognized the terrifying similarities between the current media machine and what he had once faced. This time, he didn't choose the palace's official diplomatic channels. He opted for a more direct approach, breaking traditional rules to create a seismic shockwave. This intervention not only shook the crown, but also forced those in power to confront a question: is the silence meant to protect the dynasty, or is it actually destroying the people within it? Will the appearance of the prodigal son be the spark that burns away the remnants of old rituals, or will it be the bridge to mend a family on the brink of collapse? As alliances shift and truth begins to leak through the cracks of the throne, who will truly hold Louis's future in their hands? In a system where every communication is filtered through layers of stringent administrative barriers, an event reportedly occurred that completely altered the landscape. Without warning, without intermediaries, a digital bridge was built across the Atlantic. Insiders speculated about a lengthy conversation, 37 minutes a period, long enough for the royal masks to fall off. P. It wasn't a call between a prince and a princess, but a connection between two people who had once been plagued by the same thing: silence in the name of loyalty. Many sources believe that it was Catherine's younger brother, often labeled a rebel, who used his own scars to illuminate her path. He shared his feelings of being marginalized and the price of turning silence into a kind of religion for survival. The core message being conveyed is deeply thought-provoking. The world will never understand pain unless you allow it to speak. In that moment, Catherine's hesitation seemed to vanish, giving way to a new resolve, a shift in mindset that no ritual could prevent. However, every act of changing reality comes with aftershocks. Thousands of miles away from London, this private conversation is said to have created a clash of viewpoints within Harry's own home. Psychological theories suggest that when old boundaries are broken, it inadvertently creates new anxieties about safety and personal principles. A tense dialogue erupted, recalling the reasons for past separations. But for Harry, this wasn't a political maneuver, but an effort, breaking the cycle of tragedy. What he saw in Louis's eyes, a painful reflection from his own childhood. Later, those close to Catherine said that she regarded those words as a guide during her darkest moments. It wasn't just empathy, but an affirmation that the truth, however painful, remains the only path to freedom. Archie. That 37-minute phone call became one of the most closely guarded secrets, yet its influence was evident in every subsequent step taken by the Princess of Wales. Could a call from the exiled truly be the key to unlocking the palace's prison of truth? And as old alliances crumbled to make way for new understandings, what would the monarchy face next? The pressure from the surrounding walls nearly forced Catherine to retreat. But in her loneliest moment, a hand from the past pulled her forward. It wasn't an act of revenge, but an understanding of the price of silence. The aftershocks of that call were so great that it shattered the ice between the two brothers, already fractured by history. For the first time in months, a direct conversation took place between William and Harry, without intermediaries or aides. While it couldn't heal all wounds immediately, it opened a door that had been believed to be permanently closed. As resistance within the palace grew, a survival move was made from the very center of power. Just hours before the truth was scheduled to be revealed, a legal shadow fell over the dynasty. 2:43 a.m. a secret order was issued bearing the name Immediate Red Category Intervention Protocol. This is not merely an administrative document. It is a desperate attempt to silence an individual's voice in the name of institutional stability. The sole objective to prevent Catherine's speech at all costs. To justify this action, the legal system employed a controversial tactic, doubting the other person's sanity. They sought to construct a psychological profile suggesting Catherine was operating in a state of instability, thereby undermining the legitimacy of her upcoming statements. This was a direct blow to her standing not only as a member of the royal family, but also as a mother. They revived an ancient clause forgotten for nearly 70 years, allowing the monarch to intervene in internal communications if they were deemed a threat to the survival of the monarchy. The faded ink on outdated documents has been brought out to challenge the modern-day yearning for transparency. The palace is staking its reputation on a risky power game. They are not just fighting an individual, they are fighting against themselves, public conscience. Even the sharpest strategic minds in the palace began to waver. It became clear that this was no longer a mere security measure, but had become a major undertaking. Suppression of voices. It took place right in the heart of the kingdom. All the pressure now rested on William's shoulders. He was summoned for one final mission to stop his partner before the crack became irreparable. However, after navigating through the fog of truth, William delivered a chilling response enough to freeze the hopes of the conservatives. If an institution must collapse because of the truth, then perhaps it deserves it. When tensions reached their breaking point, an unexpected trigger appeared. An aide in a moment of awakening to conscience decided to bring the gagging protocol to light. In the blink of an eye, the world witnessed an unprecedented virtual parade. Hashtag let Catherine speak up. It became a global wave breaking down all media barriers. From social activists to ordinary citizens, everyone formed a public opinion siege, forcing the palace to confront the truth. Amidst that storm, the head of the monarchy reportedly retreated to Balmoral. Was it a retreat for reflection or an acknowledgement that control of the narrative had completely slipped from his grasp? The dam had broken. The world wasn't just watching, it was demanding a humane answer. And Catherine, standing silently in the eye of the storm, chose to step into the light. In that historic moment, there were no guards, no flamboyant ceremonial attire, and no gleaming royal insignia. In front of the camera stood only one woman, a mother preparing to speak from the beat of her heart, not from a prepared script. It wasn't the Princess of Wales reading the announcement, but a naked Catherine, faced with the truth. Her voice trembling, but possessing the strength of a mountain, she confirmed what millions had feared. The youngest prince was facing a different neurorealities, a rare syndrome that has permanently altered the course of their family's lives. She didn't use dry medical jargon. She spoke of sleepless nights, missed milestones in life, and silent prayers in the dark. But what broke the hearts of her listeners most was her confession about forced silence. She revealed details of meetings where a mother's tears flowed in the name of the stability of the monarchy. When the truth is finally spoken from the lips of someone who has kept it hidden for too long, will the crown still shine as brightly as before? Or is this the beginning of a new era where sincerity becomes the most valuable asset of a modern monarchy? Catherine's final message is not just an explanation. It is a call to action. Ethical settlement. In a system that prioritizes ritual over humanity, she not only speaks for her own flesh and blood, but also represents all innocent souls born into the cruel light of fate, where the burden of expectations rests upon them from their very first breath. She demanded a radical change, making compassion the guiding principle instead of rigid rules. It was the moment the world realized that behind those impenetrable iron gates were not distant entities, but a mother willing to sacrifice all her titles to protect dignity for her child. Midway through the speech, one sentence resonated with millions, shattering the illusion of royal separation. "You are still my only joy, and I will never let you face the darkness alone." In just 12 short minutes, Catherine not only spoke to one nation, she changed the world. It was no longer a typical royal news broadcast, but a turning point in humanism. The power of sincere words shattered even the most carefully orchestrated scenarios of the monarchy. The world's reaction was like an emotional tsunami. Television programs were interrupted and the internet was flooded with prayers. People wept, not only for a young prince they had never met, but for the courage of a mother who dared to stand up and tear apart the veil of secrecy. Candles were lit everywhere as a symbol of solidarity. The distance between commoners and royalty seemed to vanish in that moment, giving way to a sacred connection based on pain and pure love. However, while the world was stirred by her message inside the palace, an eerie silence reigned. The gilded corridors now carry a heavy atmosphere of final confrontation. With the secret dam broken, how will the machinery of power react to salvage what remains? Or is this the beginning of the collapse of an old way of life? What unfolds behind those closed doors could completely redefine the future of the crown, a future whose truth has now become clear. It became an uncontrollable variable. Following Catherine's shocking confession, the opulent corridors, usually filled with the sounds of discussions, fell into an eerie silence. This wasn't an attack from an external enemy, but an explosion from the very heart of the system, where the truth was uttered by the woman once considered the most silent pillar. Overnight, a nationwide purge of beliefs took place. Fiery questions began to grapple with core values. Why would an institution claiming to protect demand silence from a mother FE? This rift was not limited to legal texts. It had seeped into the very core of loyalty which had long been taken for granted. Faced with the threat to his throne, the king made an unprecedented decision: retreat into the shadows of contemplation. The suspension of official duties was not merely for reflection, but also symbolic of the weight of truth that had caused the monarchy to falter. Meanwhile, William and Catherine chose a deliberate pause. There were no flashy trips, no smiles for the cameras. This wasn't a strike, but an affirmation that the royal performance cannot continue when its heart is bleeding. Their absence was the most powerful answer, garnering profound sympathy from across the continent. This seismic shift forced the advisory apparatus to undertake a major overhaul of the rules. The concept of royal minors is being redefined. Discussions are beginning about restoring peace to these children, freeing them from prearranged scenarios until adulthood. Scrutiny no longer stops at public opinion, but has surged into the halls of Parliament. Questions regarding transparency and financial resources are being raised with a resolve firmer than ever before. An institution once considered immune to investigation must now face the mirror of truth and the weight of accountability. Amidst the ruins of outdated rules, the image of Catherine emerges more radiant than ever. She is honored not for her title, but for her crown of courage. The newspaper and the people bestowed upon her the highest honor, Queen of the people's hearts. This event sparked speculation about an earlier-than-expected transfer of power. Could this be the beginning of a comprehensive reform where William and Catherine would step up as architects of a transparent future? Though the palace maintained a tight silence, the resonance of Catherine's voice created a new reality, one where sincerity reigned supreme. This information is for reference only based on hypotheses and unverified public rumors or opinions. Let's discuss this through the lens of objective analysis. Truth does not always lie in what we see, but in what we feel. If you believe that a mother's compassion can shake the foundations of an entire dynasty, press 1. If you remain skeptical amidst the thickening mist, press 0. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue our journey of decoding the profound echoes of history. Some scars never truly fade. They just lie dormant, waiting for their moment to speak. Welcome back. Today, we aren't talking about glittering crowns or royal galas. Instead, we're stepping into the shadows to the very moment Prince William and Prince Harry finally shattered decades of silence. What was powerful enough to make two princes lay bare their deepest grief for their mother, Princess Diana? What secrets were buried beneath those public smiles? Join me as we turn the pages of a chapter that has remained untold until now. After so many years of quiet reflection, they eventually discovered the courage to speak, not just about grief, but about growing up healing, and the comforting belief that their mother's spirit still guides them from a distance. And what about you? Have you ever gone through a loss that reshaped who you are and helped you become stronger the way William did? If you have, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss future videos filled with heartfelt and inspiring royal stories like this one. William once came across a file he was never meant to read. Yet the moment he opened it, his perception of the events surrounding that historic night in 1997 shifted in ways he had never imagined. Inside were overlooked notes, an unpublished document, and a series of unusual details that appeared to link Princess Diana's quiet concerns with individuals she had long placed her confidence in. The incident inside the Pont de l'Alma tunnel was remembered by many not only as a heartbreaking loss, but also as a moment surrounded by unanswered questions. Some viewed it as a tragic coincidence, others as a simple accident, while many felt there were layers the public might never fully understand. At approximately 12:25 a.m. in Paris, the car carrying Princess Diana, her companion Dodi Al-Fayed, bodyguard Trevor Jones, and driver Henri Paul collided with one of the tunnel's pillars. In a single instant, what had begun as an ordinary evening transformed into a sorrowful event that captured the attention of the entire world. The announcement traveled with astonishing speed by 4 a.m. Leading television networks throughout Europe and North America were breaking into their scheduled broadcasts to deliver the news of Princess Diana's passing. Outside Kensington Palace, crowds of grieving admirers gathered without pause. In less than 10 days, the sea of tribute flowers had risen to nearly 5 feet high, turning the gates into a powerful symbol of collective remembrance. Questions quickly followed. Why would Diana, known for being careful in public, have chosen not to fasten her seatbelt that night? Why were none of the tunnel's traffic cameras able to provide a clear record of the crash, and was driver Henri Paul truly impaired, as early reports suggested, when some observers later said he seemed composed? The official French investigation, released in 1999, concluded that Henri Paul had a blood alcohol level significantly above the legal limit and had also been taking prescription medication, findings that shaped the final public understanding of the incident. Yet conflicting details and the accounts of people who were there kept public curiosity alive, making it difficult for doubts to fully disappear. The princess's passing was not only a national shock, but also a deeply personal loss that left a lasting mark on Prince William. As the years moved forward, however, pieces of information that once seemed